Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin wassalatu wassalamu ala asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Brothers and sisters, this is our last phase of Ramadan. We are in our last 10 days of Ramadan. As we have observed in the Quran, it is very clear that fasting is ordained not only to us but also to the people before us. As mentioned, Ya ayyuhalladhina amanu kutiba alaykumus siyam kama kutiba alal ladhina min qablikum la'allakum tattaqun. Oh, you who believe, it is ordained, fasting is ordained upon you as it was ordained to people before you. And the objective of fasting was mentioned vividly in the Quran, that is to achieve piety or taqwa. The question is, what is taqwa? We understand taqwa also through the Quran. On the same page of that verse which ordained fasting, Allah also mentioned revelation. شهر رمضان الذي أنزل فيه القرآن هدى للناس وبينات من الهدى والفرقان. It is the month of Ramadan in which the Quran was revealed. What is the Quran? Guidance, huda linnas, guidance for humankind. Bayinati min al-huda, explanation of the guidance, and the criterion, furqan, criterion to determine what is wrong, what is right. It is the Quran which is very important, a means for us to understand how to achieve taqwa. According to Professor Dr. Farid Al-Ansari, in his book Majalis Al-Quran, there are three processes that are linked to our relationship with the Quran. The first is the process which is called tilawah, which is very common to us. Tilawah is actually the reading of the Quran, but reading the Quran is unique. It is not similar to reading common books, where a person reads a book silently. But tilawah is a process which needs the pronunciation of the words of the Quran aloud. It means recitation. When a person reads and the other can listen to it, both parties get benefits from the contents of the Quran being read. The second process is called ta'lim, whereby a person reads the Quran to understand through tafsir or exegesis or interpretation of the holy book, the Quran. The process of ta'lim, which depends of tafsir, are mainly, especially with the verses that relate to legal injunctions that Allah has ordained upon us. But it's not all. The process of reading the Quran, understanding the Quran, involves the third aspect, which is always emphasized by Professor Farid Al-Ansari in his book, the process which is called tadabbur. What is tadabbur? Tadabbur is actually a process which involves a kind of thinking by focusing on the meaning of the verses of the Quran and contemplating on the end, which means the consequences of doing what is ordered by Allah to us and the consequences of not doing what Allah has ordered to us. So by tadabbur, we can avoid ourselves from being arrogant. Why? Sometimes when we know a lot about something, for example, we know a lot about the legal rulings, that is a tendency for us to quarrel with another person who also know and belittle the knowledge of the others. But tadabbur is a process which happens internally. Only that person experiences the journey of reading personally with the Quran and understanding, unveiling the messages of the Quran. He then corrects himself by the process of reflection. That is why some of the Sahaba of Rasulullah sallallahu alaihi wasallam, when they read the Quran, they immerse themselves into the reading, and they wept, they cried because of fear, thinking of what they have done, what they have neglected, and what the consequences of their actions will be. They fear Allah, and that state of fear or khawf is achieved actually through the process of tadabbur. This tadabbur is actually the process that the Sahaba has experienced before, internalized in their deeds, and their souls themselves have been transformed due to this process called tadabbur. So ladies and gentlemen, brothers and sisters, within our last phase of Ramadan, let us do more tadabbur as compared to only tilawah and ta'aleem. I hope and I pray that all of us can benefit from the process of tadabbur and upgrade ourselves to achieve the status that Allah called taqwa. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh. Thank you.